played guitar all your life, you've never owned a bass, you don't want to try and make giant stretches with your fingers, or maybe you're just a younger person who will grow into making bigger stretches with your fingers, what do you buy? Well, I'll tell you what I bought a few months ago. It's taken me a while to get around to making this video, but I'm now going to do the big reveal and set it up. So let's go. All right, so here's the bass in its gig bag. We've got Fender gig bags and cases. Protect your investment. Well, I'm not sure that a gig bag protects anyone's investment all that well, but it's good for around the house, I suppose. It's what comes with this particular bass. So let's open it up and have a look at what it is. Put this gig bag away. And what we have here is an American Performer. That means made in the USA. Mustang bass, which is a short scale bass, as they would say. Instead of being 34 inches here to here, it's 30 inches there to there, which is about just a little over 5 inches longer than, say, a Les Paul, maybe about 4 inches than a Strat. So if you're a guitar player, or if you've got smaller hands, this fingerboard, the scale of it is being shorter is a lot more familiar. Moving from something like a Strat or a Les Paul to Mustang bass won't feel so alien. You know, the stretches won't be quite so wide as they would be on a full-scale 34-inch bass. So I thought I'd want to try out one of these, and I went with the American-made. So the American Performer series is the first of the two levels of the non-custom shop Fenders. There's one level above this. I think it's called American Professional, something like that. But these differ from the Made in Mexico ones in a number of ways, not the least of which is on some of the Made in Mexico ones, there's a switch here to switch between the pickups. I mean, in fact, some of the models only have the Mustang pickups. This has the jazz bass pickup. So if you look over here, we have, instead of a jack, which is what we normally see on a Mustang bass, so the cord would be plugged in there. Instead, it plugs in over here. Instead of that arrangement, we've got a knob that's like a blend knob. Not a switch, but a blend between this pickup and this pickup. So, a little different, kind of neat. Now, I bought this bass, oh boy, early 2023, but I was so busy working on my book that I really had no time to set it up. I played it a few times, but I mean, I haven't even taken the stickers off. The stickers are on the pickups. The stickers are on the machine heads, you know, so it's hardly been played. I love this color. And it's the surf green color. I'll show you the back. And it's got the string through design. That's another difference from the Made in Mexico. So the American made ones are string through with the Fender logo instead of, I don't think the Made in Mexico ones have the full Fender. I think it's just the F on the Made in Mexico. And then you can see, I think you can see on the headstock there, Corona, California. So it's made in California with the others in the American line. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to pull off some of these plastics. And then we're going to check the setup, if it needs to be set up. I mean, it plays pretty well. I haven't heard much in the way of buzzing, etc. But we'll see how straight this neck is and set the intonation up, and then this thing will be ready to play. Now, there is another project that is required for this bass. I've looked and cannot find, at least not one that's in stock, a bass case, a case for the Mustang bass. So if you look at the cases that are available in most stores, if you put a Mustang bass into the case, it'll just slosh around in there. It's too short. It has no support at this end. It's all set up wrongly for a short scale bass, and I don't know why that is. Maybe they just don't sell a lot of Mustang short scale basses, but I doubt that's the case. They've got 5 lines of them. So for whatever reason, getting a hard case for a Mustang bass, well, that's difficult, if not impossible. So I'm considering either taking a generic case, like the $99 ones you can get, 99 Canadian at Long & McQuaid, gutting it and making a form-fitting surround for it and then relining it. Or if I want to get a little bit more ambitious, I've had an idea about making a case out of bulletproof plastics. They would be see-through. You'd be able to do a lot of different things with it, like putting images in. You know, if you want to display an image on your case, like on the inside of the clear plastic, that could be kind of cool. Maybe even put a bit of a light show around the outside. Not sure what you'd use that for, but it'd be fun. All right, let's get to it. All right, I think we'll start by taking some of these plastics off. These are just to preserve the looks like new, you know, look and feel of these things. But you can imagine if these things are being played in a guitar store, they might get irreparably scratched up. So it's nice to have that plastic layer on there to protect the plastics of the pickup. These look just to be like Scotch tape. Could be wrong. There's no cover on this one. This sticker here, I don't think it's under another cover. I think this is the, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this sticker here just comes up here. And there is another piece of plastic here on top of this whole arrangement. I'm not going to take that off just yet. I'm going to let it be there to protect the pick guard while I'm fiddling on the end of the bass here. Let's move up to the other end though, and we'll take the plastics off the tuning pegs. All right. These are a little bit more elusive. Oh, I see. They're more like a pocket. All right. It's difficult to grab them. Once you finally get a purchase on them, you can get them off. All right. I'm going to start by just seeing whether this action is too high for me. I don't think it is too high for me, but also whether the fretboard is level or bowed, and if so, if bowed, how much. There isn't necessarily a perfect or correct way for the neck to be. I mean, there's obviously lots of wrong ways for the neck to be, but the neck does not need to be perfectly flat. People who are playing softly, playing strings softly, will be able to get away with a flatter fretboard. But as soon as you start hitting those strings with a bit more force, the string is going to move in a larger arc. And when it does that, it's going to want to bang off of the frets. So if you lift the frets off of the fretboard a bit more, then even though you're playing, you know, you're really giving it the goose. Like I've given it a lot of force right there. You don't hear any buzzing on it when it's open. Same there. It's not necessarily the case, though, that you need as much space between the frets and the string as I just showed. So first, let's just find out whether the fingerboard is flat. Now, technically, this should be done with the guitar this way, because when the guitar is lying on its back, or if it were even lying on its front, which of course would be silly, it would bow the neck to a certain degree. And you can tell this because if you've played guitar, you know that if you're playing, you can, for fun, you can sort of, you know, pull on the headstock and make it sort of have a whammy sound. I mean, you can detune the whole setup. But just for the sake of putting it on video, and because I don't have an unlimited number of hands, I'm going to just lay the guitar on its back, assume that it's not bowing too far back, and just get a sense with this ruler that's from StewMac. It's milled to be extremely precise, to see if we've got any light coming in. Now I can clearly see, 1 to 2 millimeters between the first fret and this fret right here. So at about at about the midpoint right here, this fret is clearly 1 to 2 millimeters. It's probably overbowed. Even for thick strings and a fairly harsh amount of force on the strings. But just before we straighten out the neck by adjusting the truss rod down here, let's just see if it plays well without, you know, if it's already buzzing, then we want to be careful about lifting the middle up too much, because we'll just increase the buzzing. So, okay, first of all, just playing the strings open, it's clear to me that there's no hitting of the frets by the string. There is some kind of rattle going on. I can't locate it quite just yet. It might be the string itself. It could be, it's not the pick guard rattling, because if I hold it, it doesn't stop the rattling from happening. But I'll play you the first, you know, the higher 3 strings. All of those sound very clear. If I hit that one really hard, you can kind of hear that rattle. But it's not coming off the frets. And in fact, I can see the full length of the neck. I can see that the string's not coming near the frets, so that's not it. That last thing you heard was a bit of a slap off the frets. Like even then I can't make it. So that rattle, that's not fret buzz. That's the difference. So right here I can make the string hit the frets if I hit the string hard enough. That's fret buzz, that you know, flatulent sound you heard. But this other buzzing is coming from somewhere else. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably the interior of the bass. It might even be, is it even possible for the truss rod to rattle? I don't know. Try the headstock. All right, I think I've found where the rattle's coming from. I'm not sure how to remedy it, but let's just have a look. I'll show you. You can hear the rattle. That's the rattle. If I hold it there, it's not happening. I'm going to say that rattle is probably something nut related, and I'm not inclined to mess with the nut just now. But what I can say is we don't have a fret rattle situation yet. So I think it's safe to say that we could, if we like the height of the strings from the neck, in fact, and that doesn't bother me, that distance, even that, you know, that 1 to 2 millimeters doesn't bother me at all. It looks horrific as compared to what I would see on a guitar. You know, my guitar just has a very small clearance above the frets, but I mean, I like the height, I think, of the strings. It's just that there seems to be a lot of clearance, probably unnecessary clearance, in the middle of the neck. Yeah, like that's about 1 millimeter or more when I hold the first fret and the last fret down. I'm getting a bow. Definitely there's a bow there that creates a distance of about millimeter and a half. Now, if I use my string gauge here, you can see that this is height from fret top to bottom of string in inches. And there are these lines corresponding to heights between the fret and the string bottom. So let's have a look at about the 7th fret to see what height my string is riding at on the E string, the low E string. That's 0.1 right there. If we look at that, yes, you can just see the bottom of the line. I'll move it this way, you can see the bottom of the line. So this one right here, that line rides against the bottom of the, that lines up at the bottom of the string. So this E string is running at about 0.1 inches off of the fret at the 7th fret. It looks like About the same for the A. Maybe 0.11 for the B. And about 0.1 for the 0.11 for the G as well. You know what? Let's just leave the height alone for now. I'm happy with it. Let's look at the intonation. The neck, I'm not inclined to condition it just yet. Out of the factory, it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you can see it that well. I'll put it back down on the table and get a closer look. All right, so I think you can see the neck is in pretty good shape. It's not, it's clearly not dirty. I mean, it's hardly been used, this bass. The frets are in respectable condition. They're not corroded in any way. There's no finger stuff on there. This bass came out of the box. In fact, I removed it from the box at, I think I bought this one at Cosmo Music, north of Toronto. So I'm the only one who's ever touched it. I've hardly played it, so that neck should be fine. It's not looking dried out or sketchy. So let's move on to checking the intonation. I like to use a Peterson strobe tuner for this. All right. And first we'll get the E, so we're flat. And as soon as this stops turning one way or the other, we know we're perfectly in tune. This is stroboscopic accuracy, so it's not a rough guide. This is a pretty accurate guide. Go from lower to higher. There we go, that's nice and stable. And so now we're just going to test whether the same string at the 12th fret, which is half the length between the nut and the bridge here, or the saddles, whether it also is in tune as in E. And we can see that it's sharp because it's moving this way. So we've got to lengthen the distance between here and here by moving this saddle backward. So we know there's some intonation work to do, but you know, before we do that, let's just see if the curvature of the saddles matches the curvature of the neck at this end, which is, according to the paperwork anyway, 9.5 inch radius. So let's just check that. We've got some gauges to do that with. So these are the gauges we're going to use. We look for the one that's marked 9.5. There's a 10. There's a 9.5 right there. So if the advertising's correct, when I lay this part here down on top of the wood, we will have a 9.5 inch matchup. In other words, the bottom of the metal will match up nicely with the wood. And it does. So it's correct, it's a 9.5. And then if we take the same gauge, 9.5, and we use the top side, we can put the top side under the strings on this end, turn, and find out whether any of the strings are not touching the top of the metal. If they're not touching, then there's a mistake. In other words, the arc of these saddles needs to be adjusted. And you can just make the strings buzz. That's pretty good. I'm not going to touch that. Someone set these up well at the factory. All right, so far so good. You can see that these saddles each have little screws on them. That's to adjust the tilt of the saddle. In other words, that tilt there. And then if we look at the other end here, we'll see 4 screws. And those are the screws that are going to adjust these. That's the screw right there coming out. This is the spring. And so it's going to adjust where this saddle sits this way, okay? So these little screws here, they adjust the tilt of the saddle and also the ride height of the saddle. You know, if you screw them in further, the saddle's going to lift. But we don't want to lift any of these because these appear to have been set at the right arc. They match the arc here, 9.5, appears to match here, 9.5. And so all we're really wanting to do is adjust this way. In other words, is the saddle far enough back or far enough forward to make sure that when the guitar is played open E, and then at the 12th fret, we get still on the meter, the reading saying E. We'll just double check the tuning on that. It's a nice stable E. Now we're going to go for a 12th fret E. It's sharp. So we're going to turn this, I'll say about one turn. That brought the low E just a little sharp because when you pull the saddle back, it puts more pressure on the string. Here we are, 12th fret, still sharp. So we're going to bring the saddle further back again. I'm going to lower the tension on the string. I'm going to give it another full turn. Bring it up to E. All right, now we'll try the 12th fret. Still sharp. Lower it back. Give it another full turn. Try the low E. So this is an iterative process, of course. Still a bit sharp. Do it again. Still sharp. We're still quite sharp. I'm just going to continue this process. Try it at the 12th fret. Still a bit sharp. You can see the saddle's back quite a bit further than where we started, but that took about 3-4 turns. I'm going to do a couple more. Okay, go to the 12th fret. Still a bit sharp. I'm going to give it 3 turns. Fret. I'm gonna be picky on this. Let me just give this a bit more. On the 12th fret. Still gonna go a bit more. 12th fret. You know, I want that to be right, but it's not. We have to go a bit further. 12th fret. Maybe I've overdone. I'm going to go back about half a turn. And 12th fret. Oh, it's playing with me. Whew. I'm going to go quarter turn. I think what's happening is that the angle here of the string is, as we go further and further back with the saddle, the string angle here is increasing at an increasing rate. And so it's taking fewer turns to have a greater effect. There we go. We got it. Woo, look at that. We've come back quite a bit on that saddle. Well, I'm going to do the same with the A, the D, and the G, and then we'll show you the end result. I'll just go quickly through this. I think that's got it for A. And again, we've had to bring back that saddle quite a bit from where it was to begin with. Onto the D. Again, sharp. That seems to be the way with all of these saddles. In other words, the distance between the saddle and the 12th fret has been shorter than it really needed to be in order for the intonation to be correct. And it looks like that's the case by, it could be as much as a half a centimeter. It's a fair amount of length difference. So I'm going to assume the same kind of problem on the D and I'm going to give it several turns. I can always go back if it's too much. Still sharp. I'm saying that's good. Okay, we're going to go with the final string, the G. If it looks, I mean, we had to bring all of the saddles back considerably. I'm assuming this is going to be the same with the G, but let's just have a look. Twelfth fret. Yeah, sharp. So we're going to have to bring that saddle back, lengthen this distance between this saddle and the 12th fret. And then the 12th fret. Oh, that was a pretty good guess. Okay, right on. That's the intonation. All right, well, now the fun stuff. I bought a strap for this thing. I saw it on the wall. I remember I was in Long and McQuaid, and not where I bought the bass, but it's like a day or three later. I was in Long and McQuaid in Oshawa, and there was this display of guitars on the wall, as there normally is, behind the cashier's area, where the better guitars are kept. And they happened to have, along with the guitars, a display of some special straps, some nice looking straps. And one of them caught my eye, especially the color, given that this one's, you know, got the surf green. So let me just show you that strap, and you can say in the comments whether you think it matches or goes well with this bass or not. And here is the one that got the prize. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got some nice gold laced all in between the petals of the roses. I'll try and bring this up a little close to the camera so you can see. I don't know if it'll look as good on the camera as it looks in real life. It has a real nice coloration to it, and I really think it goes well with the green, the surf green. So we're going to put that on. Incidentally, that was the brand name for that was Perry's. It's called a 2-inch Roses, and it was $29.50 Canadian at Long and McQuaid. All right, so I'm going to need a little bit more length on this thing. Now, I didn't buy strap locks for this, not per se, not the, the mechanical strap locks. These strap knobs are not bad. I actually don't believe the strap would come off. That's a fairly big strap post. But just in case, I'm going to try something out that I've seen others using on the web, and that's these Ernie Ball, they call them strap blocks. And there's 2 red ones, 2 black ones. I think we'll go for the black ones. If you've ever bought a bottle of Grolsch beer, this red one might remind you. The Grolsch beer bottles have kind of a retainer top on them, and they seal with a rubbery bit like this. I'm thinking that whoever came up with this for Ernie Ball probably was familiar with Grolsch. I think, in fact, that's where a lot of guitar players were getting the idea. They were just pulling them off of bottles of beer and using them as strap locks. In any event, we use the black ones. They've got the Ernie Ball writing on the one side. Oh, and on both sides. Okay. And they just go on over the edge of each strap post. So there's the one. That's a pretty secure system. I can't see this coming off except with some really abusive guitar swinging. Go over here. Same thing on this end. All right. Last thing to do, pull the plastic off this. And we can see it's actually kind of coming up right here on the edge anyways. That makes it easier for us to reach it. Doing this one-handed because, of course, I'm holding onto the camera with my other hand. Take the pickups out of there, and there we go. Nice and shiny. And ready to play. So you may see this in a future video. I have a video planned about, well, the problem of universals is what it's called, the philosophical problem of universals. And in it, I'll be talking about similarities and differences among guitars. Till then, that's me checking out for now. Hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of a low-key affair, but hadn't set up a bass before, so it was kind of fun to try it. And I figured might as well put it on the channel, let people have a look at it in case they have a similar bass or a similar task to do. One of the things I will say, this being an American-made bass, I think it came out of the factory pretty well set up. Not the intonation, but the string height, there wasn't any string buzz to speak of. Maybe that's just because the string height is so much, but as I said, it was 0.1 of an inch. So, and for me, that seems fine. Now, again, I'm just getting into playing some bass. I've never had a bass before. This is the first one I've ever had. I'm a guitar player originally, and even that I haven't done for many years with any regularity. But now that I'm finished writing my book, I'm hoping to get back into it and maybe doing a little bit of recording. So anyway, hope this was fun for you, or at least interesting in some way, useful, and we'll talk to you again soon.